Okay, so as Ned's quite rightly said, he gave me 303 and 100 gecs new song, Lonely Machines, which was released on the 13th of November last year. This was released on Photo Finish Records. It's approximately 2 minutes and 28 seconds long, so just under 2.5 minutes long. It's a collaboration between two musical artists, 303, whom, according to their Wikipedia page, are an American electronic music duo from Boulder, Colorado, which consists of Sean Foreman and Nathaniel Moat. They are probably best known for their hit single Don't Trust Me from their sophomore album, Want, which was released back in 2008. Don't Trust Me seems to be this kind of tongue-in-cheek number. Lyrics include a bit where they sing, tell your boyfriend if he has beef, that I'm a vegetarian, I ain't fucking scared of him. And then the chorus kicks in with don't trust a hoe, never trust a hoe, which is quite interesting because there was a bit of a similar lyric in the song that we're about to review. But anyway, the band have also previously worked with the likes of Katy Perry on their songs Starstruck and Keisha. And I think it's their faces that feature on the song's artwork, albeit with some sort of negative photo filter added, and both of the band's names seemingly kind of tattooed onto their foreheads. And according to an article that I read, this is the first piece of music that they've made since 2016. 100 gecs, typically stylized all in lowercase, are another American music duo which consists of Dylan Brady and Laura Les. They released their first studio album back in 2019 and also released a companion or remix album entitled 100 gecs and the Tree of Clues back in 2020 also. As for the song itself, it kind of opens with this kind of Super Mario-esque chiptune 8-bit sound, which acts as a bit of a kind of rhythmic tool for the first part of the song. The song's vocals kick in around the kind of 10-second mark or so, and I think it's probably one of the singers from 303 that provide the vocals in this instance. He starts by singing "You're looking cute with that gap in your teeth," the jean jacket with the T underneath, and then there's that lyrics that I talked about earlier on: "Tell your boyfriend if he still has beef, that over time it's going to give him heart disease." The song then kind of ramps up a notch before going into the song's chorus, where we're treated to more layers and texture. There's this really kind of fat, bassy electronic sound that runs throughout it, that's quite enjoyable, and the odd kind of spike of kind of Thurman-esque digital flourishes, which I quite enjoyed. We're then introduced to who I'm assuming is probably 100 gecs with some glitchy digitalized vocals, which I think could potentially be quite divisive. I wasn't too sure what to make of it at first, but admittedly, it did kind of grow on me over time. The song then kind of bursts back into the chorus again. The song changes again around the kind of 4 minute, 44 second mark, where the musical instrumentation arrangement gets kind of stripped back a bit, and we hear the odd kind of whisper and then some echoey audio of screamed female vocals, which are quite hard to decipher. But the song ends on a high with some really lush, upbeat electronic drums and a really kind of groovy head banging riff. And this type of thing isn't typically my wheelhouse, but yeah, it's all right. It was okay. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think all right is probably the way to describe it, because I think when I first heard this, I got quite into it just because of like the I really like that opening. Like it's got like the sort of video game sounds, but it's like staticky electronic, but it's really bouncy. And then that like you're looking cute with that gap in your teeth bit. That's
Yeah.
really catchy. Like it's really, I mean, it is really poppy, but it's just a really cool, catchy intro. And then beyond that, it kind of becomes a fairly generic, like autotune pop chorus kind of thing. Um,
Yeah. Aye.
it's not hugely memorable. It's got a pretty decent beat to it, and I think it would probably do pretty well on the radio. But it's that kind of generic sort of modern boy band almost. Like if you listen to bands like You Me at Six, or even what like Fall Out Boy have become in more recent years, they've all got that sort of sound, that sort of sound. But mean, it's not terrible. It is catchy and it's pretty enjoyable. I think the more interesting parts for me are the bits that I think are down to 100 gecs, which are the more sort of glitchy parts, and I quite like that vocal modulation. Like you say, I think it is divisive, and I think 100 gecs in general are pretty divisive, but it's that kind of weird, those weird vocal modulations and weird sort of distortions and glitches. I think I quite like it because it reminds me of like Alice Glass and Crystal Castles,
Yeah.
which that's a sort of band and artist that I got heavily into, quite a few years ago. But I think I mean, 303 have been out. They've been about since like the mid 2000s, and 100 gecs are quite a bit younger by about a decade. So I think it's quite shrewd from 303 for collaborating with an artist like that, a sort of more current and more exciting artist, I suppose. I think from their standpoint, it's quite shrewd, and it makes for a pretty decent song. So yeah, I think this is quite good. It's not going to blow anyone's minds, but I just thought it'd be interesting to talk about because it's quite outside the realms of the stuff we generally talk about. Um, I mean, you talked about 303, their song "Don't Trust Me" earlier, and
Yeah.
that there's parts of that remind me of the Lonely Island. Like I don't know if it's like deliberately. I mean, I suppose it has to be. It's not. It can't be particularly serious because one of the parts in it is "Shush girl, shut your lips, do the Helen Keller and talk with your hips," and it's like straight out of something like the Lonely Island would do. It's like, um, and that's just the bit that I just found it absolutely hilarious. But I didn't think the song was that great. But there was just bits like that in it, and made it kind of jump out a bit to me.
If you watch the music video, I think they're definitely taking the piss.
Yeah,
Um, I can't remember all that much of the music video, but I did watch it. But I think in the first part, they're kind of just jumping about wearing like sparkly pants or something like that.
so like a Lonely Island.
Exactly like a Lonely Island video, yeah. So I don't think they take themselves too seriously.
No, I mean it reminded me a bit of like I've said here, like electronic pop punk. It's like the sort of worst of like Good Charlotte, but with some bloops and bleeps on it. Like
Yeah, okay.
that's kind of what it reminded me of. Not that I'm dissing Good Charlotte. I like the odd track of theirs, but and I mean 100 gecs similarly. I listened to their most popular song Money Machine on Spotify, and there's a lot of people talk about how this like quite an exciting band, like doing all these weird things, but that song to me just sounds like somebody took like a Justin Bieber or a Post Malone song and then just whacked loads of distortion and electronics all over it. It didn't really sound
New.
that new. It
Right,
just,
okay.
I mean, it did sound new, but it sounded like something old with a lick of paint kind of thing. I don't
Aye.
know if I'm describing that well, but I think yeah. So I don't know if I'm that enthused by either of these bands separately, but I did quite like this. But to be fair, I only listened to like one track from each of them, so it's not really giving them a shot, to be honest. Um, did you rate this?
I did rate it. I gave it a six.
Yeah, I've given it a six as well.
Kind of a bit of a middle of the road mark, but yeah, it's all right. It is all right.
Yeah, it's weird because when I first heard it, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is really good," and I was really into it. And then the more I heard it, the more I was like, "Actually, I think it tricked me like a little bit." Like, but yeah, I think 6 out of 10. It's fine. Worth a listen. For sure. Some people might really vibe with it.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so that was actually remember the name of the song and the artist this time was "Lonely Machines" by 303 featuring 100 gecs.
You're looking cute with that gap in your teeth. So say cheese. Take a picture for me.
Why do you think that it's cute to make me creepy?
She's just the right type of twisted and sweet. So fucking It's not finished. It's finished.